Daddy Squared. Gay Dad Saved the World.
A daily dose of gay dads on the front lines of the global pandemic.
With Alex McGann and Jan Dick.
Hello.
Are we still doing that hello?
Why
Can we do a
not? I
different
want to
hello?
invent my own hello. This
Okay.
is Jan.
This is Alex.
Daddy Squared, Gay Dad Saved the World, day 6.
Day 6 of our daily podcast. Day 3 billion of the
130
lockdown. Yeah. The weather's been good, and
Thank God for the sun.
and my mood is a little better.
It's funny because, my mood, I had a downhill mood
Yes.
last week when I actually realized that maybe it's not going to end so soon as I thought.
Well,
I was trying to keep optimistic.
Yeah, Jan has been making the mistake of looking at the numbers of illnesses and deaths.
I don't think it's a mistake. I once a day at the end of the day to know where we're standing in the flattening the curve.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
not like I'm following the news every day.
human beings can get used to anything, and we're getting used to things. I know this is ridiculous, but look, I went to the hardware store for the first time in, I don't know, at least 2 months. And
Yay.
I
It was packed, no?
It was pretty crowded. I had to distance myself very carefully, but I did it because there is a room. It's like almost a closet, which we have our washer dryer in, and it has always been poorly set up. And I've always wanted to reorganize it and put some shelves up in the right way, etc. And I did. The whole activity couldn't have taken more than 2.5 hours, and there was something so normal and so fulfilling about actually doing something. And now I just walk in there. It's a tiny little space.
It's beautiful.
And
You
I
did
walk in there and
beautiful
I
work.
rotate, and I'm like, oh, it's so So there's something nice
I
about.
just want to tell everybody the thing that the salesperson at the store told you, why there are so many people there.
I mean, I was
Because people
right.
are so bored at home, so they're trying to figure out what to do, and so they renovate their own DIY stuff, which is very recommended.
And I think that they're, to be incredibly inappropriate, there are a bunch of wives out there who have been nagging their husbands to fix things around the house, who are finally
Well,
getting
not in
there.
this podcast.
It's a no wives club in this house.
Anyway, yesterday there was so hot in California that I decided to fill a bucket with water.
Oh, it was great.
And let my kids play with that, and they had so much fun. They were kept screaming, "Abba, we're having so much fun!" And I'm like, sometimes kids are so simple, they're not looking for the whole many toys and stuff like that. Give them cardboard box, and they're fine.
Yeah, they're just like dogs.
I actually prefer that.
Yeah, it's one of those big buckets that you put the beers in at a party, that kind of thing. And
So we had one lying around in the backyard, so I just a little bit rinse and then fill it up with water, and that's it.
They had a blast. It was great.
And we had a great time. It was an hour of freedom for us.
Yeah.
Today we're going to call Chicago to speak with Romain Pollard. He's a soup kitchen organizer. He actually works in the healthcare as well, but he wanted to talk to us, and we wanted to talk to him about the soup kitchen. How has it changed for them and all the volunteers and everything?
Yeah.
So we're going to call him right now.
Let's do that.
All right.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. How
Hi,
you doing,
Romain.
Romain?
How's it going?
Good. Tell us a little bit about your work and how has it changed during the pandemic?
Okay, so I actually am the travel coordinator for a hospital here in Chicago. But what I would like to actually focus on is I organize a soup kitchen here in Chicago. We serve. It's the name of it is Community Feast.
Is it,
it's with
it's not only during the pandemic. You do it on a regular basis.
Yes, so I've been one of the organizers for the last 6 years. I've been volunteering there for 8. I went from volunteering to actively cooking, and then eventually the person who ran it for 30 years, she retired, and it took 5 of us to replace one of her. So.
Wow. And so what has happened since this thing, I can only imagine, but what has happened since this thing really kicked in?
Basically, we don't call it a soup kitchen. We do call it as Community Feast. What we do is we provide, every Sunday, we provide hot, healthy meals to the community. So, and when I say that, I mean in the sense of we have people who are seniors, we have some people who are homeless, we have some people, some families that are they term them food deserts here in Chicago. I make sure that I have enough to feed between 100 and 150 to upwards of 200. And so, with that being said, we used to have a family style dinner where everyone would sit at the table. We'd have a few words of thanks, and then we would just basically serve everyone at the table. And so, what we have done now, because of the whole, shelter in place here in Chicago, we no longer serve, sit down dinners. What we do is we prepare the food and we prepare them in to-go containers. And then we place those down at the front door of the center, and the guests can come in and they can pick up their meals and go. So that way we don't have them congregating together. And that's our mitigation of
right
of the coronavirus.
Have you had trouble getting the ingredients, the boxes, the whatever that's necessary to create these meals in this way?
No. So the majority of our food is provided by the Greater Chicago Food Depository, which works in conjunction with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and they provide us with our staples. And then I pay if there's something else, extra that I want to do to add flair to it. Then I pay for it myself. Or we have people who actually donate to a fund also.
Mm-hmm. To switch gears, can you tell us a little bit about your family and your family building story?
Yeah, so I actually was in the Navy for 20 years. I retired back in 2015. And I have a cousin who, she's younger than I am, but, we were very close growing up. She became pregnant, but she was also on the verge of being homeless. And so we had a family care plan in place for her son. He eventually was a little boy.
Yeah.
And once he was born, there was a hotline call made from the hospital to DCFS. And so at that point, the baby was placed with me. Mm-hmm. And I've had him since birth. I brought him home from the NICU. And in 2019, my cousin decided that she would love for me to adopt her son. And so she signed over her parental rights to me last year. We were also going through the courts. Our adoption was final January 8th of this year.
Congratulations.
Wow. Such timing.
Yeah, it was a long road, but, it's every bit of it has been, every bit of it's been great. We've had our ups and downs, but I wouldn't change it.
So what has it been like to be locked up, having to care for, a family at a time like this?
So it's myself, my son, and then my mom. And then I have a younger brother who's currently in the police academy. And so we all live here together. But it's really funny because we're all kind of introverts, and so it's in the house, we have 3 levels. So we each kind of stake out our own levels. And we come together for dinner and, we watch TV together and then, play games. And then we all kind of just sit around and, we do our own things, reading. My son has his monster trucks that, he occupies himself with, or I'll get down and we'll play the match game, he, my mother, and I. It's really funny because for us to be together like this is like normal. So, I don't think of it as an inconvenience because this is our life.
Right. Well, so it would be useful. That's actually a really good segue into the next question, which is, can you give us 3, silver linings, 3 positive things that you think have come out for you or just in general during this pandemic?
what I think will come out of this, and I'm hoping that my fellow Americans can make the right decision, is we're going to have to really think about healthcare, a living wage, and just family leave and things like that. I'm blessed because I'm a retiree, but I also actively work for the government also. So as far as economically, this situation does not affect me at all, but it really it really highlights the income disparity that we have in this country, with those who have and those who don't. And then just again, like healthcare. One of the things that we're finding is that the African American community is being harder hit by this, with complications of the virus and everything, and that comes from the healthcare not having the benefits of being able to go for a regular checkup and things like that. And then the economic part of it. We have people who are who live paycheck from paycheck to paycheck, and if you're not able to go to work, you're not able to get paid. If you're not able to get paid, you can't pay your rent. You can't buy your food. So there's a lot of I can tell you, even with the aspects of that with the soup kitchen, we have noticed an uptick in guests coming.
Our deep and final question, Anita, I think is extremely important considering what you do in your soup kitchen work, is we need you to come out and tell us about the most shameful meal that you have eaten over the last week. And we need details.
It was actually yesterday at work. And I realized that I did not have my wallet on me, so I was not able to order out. But I had a double cheeseburger.
Whose double cheeseburger did you have?
So I work at a hospital, and so they cooked it on the grill.
You had hospital food, hospital burger, double cheeseburger. I think so far you win. That's pretty bad, man.
It's the type of deal where I had to tell the guy, please do not, because I could see him spraying the grill and he was going to throw the bun on, and I was just at least
right, sop up all the oil. Yep.
Romain, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks, guys.
And
it was
best
a lot
of
of fun.
With the soup kitchen.
Yes. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Stay safe and stay healthy.
That's clear.